Hey, thanks for tuning in today to the Decentralizing Podcast and YouTube show. Today I want to cover Dog Go to the Moon. I'm really interested in this project. I've been in Bitcoin, for 11 years now, and honestly, nothing has had me just so lit and enthused about the ecosystem and where things are going than in just these last few months. And honestly, the Runestones, that entire ordeal that occurred, I want to kind of go through the history of it. I want to explain the provenance of the project, why it's got importance in Bitcoin history. I also want to show some of the fun memes, so let's launch it off with that so you guys don't have to hear me talk.
Yo, shout out dog, Leonidas. Jeez. Hey, look. Dog can never be nobody number one fan. It's big in USA and all the way to Japan. For the took they pennies and I heard they ran. But dog cannot be stopped, boy, not even in Iran. Tell the dog community better pump the shit again. Leonidas take us to the moon, it's in your hand. He said it's cause they cheating, but he's doing what he can. We bout to centralize, man, that has always been a plan. Y'all better pump and give me a billion, ayy. 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 Pump and give me. Sorry if you're too ambitious, but we want a trillion. The Runestone community been showing they resilient. We bout to take the footers out and then we making millions. The dog is in the field, man, y'all standing on pavilions. What? BTC, Runestone, man, we litty. Buy some dog if you wanna make a billy. Dog is forced, this a scam, man, y'all silly. If you don't like it, then you sus. Shout out Diddy, ayy. Better pump and give me a billion, ayy. Pump and give me a billion, ayy. Pump and give me a billion. We tryna feed the dogs and the lower class civilian. Pump and give me 10, 50 billion, I ain't kidding. Dog gon' be the hero and the doge gon' be the villain. I know cheaters mad and they probably in their feelings. It's dog to the moon, $500 million ain't our ceiling. I say it for the last time and pump and give me a billion. What? Yo, ayy. Y'all better pump and give me a billion. Pump and give me a billion. Pump and give me a billion. What? Yo.
So you can see that already, kind of going through my X timeline and looking at some of the stuff that I've saved here related to the project, that it's got an active community. And that's the first thing that I think is interesting about it. And when you look at the holders were snapshotted to get a runestone initially. So if you've just been a holder and you traded ordinals, I think it was sometime in January, that Leonidas, the influencer, so let's look at Leonidas and look at his history. Ordfluencer, Rune Master, building ord.io or ord_io. And he's the host of the Ordinal Show, which they do these great podcasts right here, live on X. Probably doing it right now. The Ordinal Hour is likely to have Leonidas in there right now, actually, but I'm not sure. And then you can see that they minted this huge block for the initial runestone drop, which of course he did. He had to do fundraising for that. So there is no VC in this project. That's important to understand right now in the regulatory environment that we have. First of all, Bitcoin is sort of in the position where it is the chosen asset, at least by regulators, because we're allowed to actually trade the asset in the ETF wrapper on regulated markets, and corporations can deal with it now. And the FASB accounting rules have changed, so they can put it on their balance sheet. So, I just think that if you're a developer, if you're trying to build on Bitcoin or on any chain, Bitcoin looks very attractive right now for that very reason, just because it already has sort of more of the stamp of approval from regulators, at least in the United States. It's kind of gone the furthest along the way in getting there. Okay, so once we get that out of the way and we get to runestones, the holders who got these, I got one that was dropped to me, and initially, when the runestones started trading, let's look at the price action on them here on Magic Eden. You can see that, where are they? Oh, and by the way, some assets on Magic Eden, they give bonuses. And so right now you can see that if you trade runestones, they're giving you 25% more of diamond bonuses. Up here you can see my diamond points that I've accrued so far. Yesterday they kind of unlocked those, I saw. And so I came into the platform and I learned how much I got. And then they're doing some gamification where I can double that bonus in the next year, I think, if I trade the same volume of assets, which, it seems likely, but but I do tend to hold a lot, so I don't know how much trading I'll do in terms of selling. Okay, going back to Runestones here, you can see that the floor price right now is like 0.0175. This has been really volatile, but everything in Ordinals has been really volatile. It's a new ecosystem. So you can see initially that like when they dropped, there were 112,000 people who got this dropped. So it was a huge drop. This is what's a big deal here. Free and fair. He raised the money to do that 3.7 megabyte inscription mint, but then also raised that money all through volunteer donations, not a corporate structure or anything like that. No shares were sold whatsoever. Then that's how this airdrop was funded, because it's not cheap to pay the transaction fees in Bitcoin to actually send these out to everybody. And yeah, I got one sent to me, and I was really stoked about it. The thing that immediately was interesting is like, if you've been in NFTs and ordinals, you notice that there are very few collections that go above about 10,000, maybe 20,000 for the supply. This one had 112,000, and it was freely just distributed, and you got it just for kind of being an OG. Like if you were just trading and holding some of these ordinals during the first year, and that's how he marketed it. So that's absolutely the genius of it too. Leonidas gets out there and he starts telling everybody, hey guys, like this is a free, fair airdrop situation. This isn't even a first come first serve where you don't have to get on a whitelist. And most of the mints on Magic Eden and other platforms are like this. They follow a traditional structure where you need to be following the X or the Twitter account very actively, and if you're not, then you're likely to not know all the things that you need to do to be able to get the drops that you want to get, or to monetize that thing that you're holding. But with Runestone, there were like very little to no gimmicks as far as what you had to do other than just hold. There was no mining. You didn't have to like send this to yourself. And I'm not dogging on R6 because I hold R6. I hold 2 of them, and I think that that's a really cool project too. Super innovative, and it sort of really started all this idea of like runes that were being allocated to holders in the future. And that's what Runestone did too. To incentivize people to hold longer, Leonidas pretty quickly into the game said, hey, I would hold these things. I wouldn't get rid of them because there's future airdrops that are going to come with runes. And you could see the price just sitting there accruing. And then, the plan that he announced before too long was there's going to be 3 airdrops that will be given to Runestone holders. The first would be some kind of a dog token. And then he just starts like massively doing this Twitter army thing that you can see going on where, if you're in Ordinals, you're just getting your Twitter feed inundated with Dog, this really cute puppy that's going to go to the moon, you're being told. And it has a very simple... Well, actually, we didn't know what it was going to be called totally until Runes dropped a block 840,000, which was like a couple weeks ago. And the reason that we had to wait for that moment was because there was basically an arms race, or like to see who could mint etch these very first inscriptions. So let me go into that and show a little bit of that history about how minting inscriptions works, and how the Runestone project with Leonidas went and got one of the first runes etched. So here it is, Dog Go to the Moon. You could see that it's the 4th one. Some would call it the 3rd one because Uncommon Goods is like, that was automatically hard-coded in by Casey, the Meta Protocol founder of Ordinals and Runes. But these other ones, like Decentralized, this is the Prometheans that did this airdrop. This one is still like announcing what they're going to do. And then this one was a free and fair airdrop. But, with these, okay, Decentralized did do the same thing basically as Dog Go to the Moon, but this is way down later. Dog Go to the Moon was the OGs that started this idea in terms of the free and fair airdrop. But I don't know a lot about the Cyberkongs and like their history on Ethereum, so that for all I know, they were doing free and fair stuff over there too, and they have done the same thing here on Bitcoin as well. So I think they're really cool as well. But yeah, going back to Dog Go to the Moon and the whole thesis there and why there's so much going on and activity and enthusiasm is that Casey like made the very brazen claim that this is going to be the number one meme coin, number one dog coin period on all chains. And so he started like really getting on there and saying, that it's time to bring everybody back to the mother of chains, which I like to say the mother of all chains, just like the mother of all dragons, Khaleesi. That's like kind of what Bitcoin is, right? It started all this, and all the fun and games kind of migrated away from it. And so Dog Go to the Moon is really trying to capture that. And I do think it'll have a history. And even if it doesn't become the number one meme coin in the world, in terms of dog tokens, for me, it's not super important. I mean, I got this stuff dropped to me. It was dropped in 800 that's why the numbers are weird. Okay, if you go here and you go to trade runes, I'll show you the numbers, and you go to Dog Go to the Moon and you want to trade it, you'll notice that the most common package you see right here is these ones, 888,806. 8 is a very lucky number in China, by the way. I lived in China for 5 years, so that's where I first bought Bitcoin, is when I was living there, and I was a teacher back in 2013. But what's cool about this is you can see that each of those packets is about $2,800. So I don't know, going back to that price action that you see for Runestones and explaining why it's doing that, if you're new to the ecosystem, you'll probably be confused by all this price action. Like it'll look like ordinals, all the collections are going up and down and they're just super volatile. But actually there's a good reason for this. They accrued all this value here, and Runestones peak around this 0.9, I think it was. Yeah. Or even 0.095 Bitcoin. So, that was, if Bitcoin was at 70,000, we were almost up to about $7,000 Runestone or something. And then, this bull flag eventually breaks down. But did it really break down? Well, this is the snapshot for Dog Go to the Moon. When that snapshot occurred and people knew that they were already going to get the drop, they then ran here on the exchange and mass sold these. So you saw a very quick movement from 0.0779 to, where's that bottoming at? 0.018. So this thing was 1/7 of its value immediately. But, if you went and panic sold it, it didn't make sense, especially down at these levels, because there's still 2 airdrops promised in the future. And Leonidas said that one of those drops is going to be after either Dog or the second token becomes the number one meme coin in the world. So this is a super ambitious project that's just making huge claims that it can back up, in my opinion. Why can it back those up? Bitcoin has $1.5 trillion of liquidity sitting there, and there's not a lot of places to put it and a lot of things to do with it yet, unless you want to go and take a risk in CFI lending. Thanks, BlockFi, because I didn't get my Bitcoin back. Tangent. But yeah, do you want to go take the risk of trusting a counterparty with your Bitcoin if you're trying to get yield on it, or lending it to other degens? There's not really a good Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem yet, but it's starting to emerge. That's the difference this cycle. We have all these L2s. There's Merlin Chain and RuneX and countless others, Stacks, STX, of course. But the bottom line is that this value didn't disappear. It just shifted. It shifted into that airdrop. So, it just moved over here. And when we look at the market cap of Dog Go to the Moon, it's been sitting pretty steady in the $300 to $400 million range, I would say. Putting it up there, as far as the main assets in the world that are blockchain assets, digital assets. I think it's 100, 200, somewhere up there. But it has a long way to go. Let's look on gate.io where it got listed. This is another place that this can be purchased. By the way, nothing on this show, as I wrote in the show notes, should be construed as financial advice. Dog Go to the Moon is a meme coin. It's totally for fun. It's not the safest way to invest at all. And most people would just call it straight up speculation, because that's what it is. It's just shit coining and speculation. So, yeah, I don't advocate or recommend this to anyone, but I like to share what I'm doing with a portion of my Bitcoin, not the majority. And I did go and buy more. So that's where my conviction lies. I went and bought after I had my initial Runestone, they dipped, and I bought a second one at 0.037, and then That was actually even before Dog Go to the Moon dropped. So I got 2 drops of Dog Go to the Moon. And then after that huge drop that I just showed you guys, I acquired a third runestone around 0.19 Bitcoin. So yeah, I'm going to hold those long term because this thing is super, super distributed and decentralized. I just have never seen anything like it. Look at this. Okay, when you go to listed and the percentage of listed for any given collection, you would think with a number that big, 112,000, that you would just see this thing bleed insanely. But it's not bleeding. Why is it not bleeding? This is my hypothesis. My hypothesis is when you look at the holders of Runestone, it's very decentralized. Like most people got 1, some people got 2 or 3 because they had 2 or 3 active wallets or more. Maybe some of the project founders got a bunch because they had a bunch of active wallets. I don't know. But honestly, there's no whales. Like the whales are not on the level that they are. Furthermore, Leonidas, the founder of Runestones, he's been accused of being greedy and having secret wallets, being fudded by other projects. And the truth of the matter is that when you go into it and look, and he shared this, he got dropped 9 of them for himself, 5 of which he gave away already. So he's only holding 4 of these for all this work. 4 of these at a market value of like 0.02 Bitcoin right now, plus the Dog Go to the Moon. Like, he's underpaid in my opinion. He deserves more, and definitely the most decentralized like airdrop I've ever seen, just given to people based on merit, not based on anything else. Like, did you go and test and play with this protocol early? If you did and you believed in it, then you got rewarded. And that's the way that things work in crypto and on Bitcoin. So Dog Go to the Moon, I think it's pretty rad. I think it's ambitious. You can go and see the crazy number projections people want to throw out there, and it gets you really moon boyish right now if you want to go that way, because it's trading for about 1/3 of a penny right now, and once it gets to $1 billion market cap, it'll be trading for around 1 cent US, I believe. So at that point, I don't even know how many meme coins, dog coins it's flipped yet, but there's like dog with hat. That is one of the goals. There's Doge, of course, is the top goal, and SHIB is up there. But, going through all the dog coins and defeating them one by one is something that it could happen very quickly. It could happen very slowly, but I think it's kind of destined to happen. And again, not financial advice, but when you have a chain that has been sort of, it's had its innovative, that need to innovate has been suppressed for a long time on Bitcoin. And it's gone to other chains. And now their energy is returned, and it's been pent up. So I would not underestimate this much capital sitting dormant, that it's not going to go here. I also wouldn't underestimate. Okay, also I want to just say something about runes versus like ordinals in general. In my opinion on this subject is that the ordinals are kind of like badges and memberships in communities. So to me, holding a runestone means something, especially if it's the original one that was dropped to me. And a quantum cap means something. And a Bitcoin wizard means something when I look at that one, because those are all pieces of the history of the blockchain that will like retain historical value. And that's what makes great art is a history, a narrative, a story, and of course fun and like passion. And so I'm just having fun and feeling really passionate about where all this shit coining is going, because in the end this all contributes to positive things for the community and positive things for Bitcoin. It increases adoption. We get more transactions that are occurring, and the criticisms would be that that's clogging up the chain. But I would say, do you really think Bitcoin is so fragile that it can't handle that level of transaction throughput? And if it's getting too many transactions, isn't that going to force the innovation that we've been looking for years in terms of L2s that do things properly and actually can handle this throughput in a truly decentralized way? I think that we have the talent out here. I think we have the AI assistance that we need for all of us devs and this community to keep building cool shit like this. So let's fucking go. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Remember, this isn't financial advice. Do not buy this shit coin. I bought it, and this is my confession. Have a good one.